Welcome to the Legacy Syndicate Podcast. I'm Jesse Moon, and I have my business partner,
Mark Cassara.
And we're hailing to you from Carrollton, Texas.
And this is episode 15, I believe, bro. 15.
15?
He's about to say 27. This is 15. And we got to catch up because we've been slacking a little bit. I think we said we were going to do twice a week, but we've been doing one a week consistently.
You've been slacking. I've been present.
You've been slacking. So we need to come together and we need to bang out another episode in the middle of the week because there's a lot of information that we got to get out to our community. Would you agree?
I would agree. There's so many topics out there going on. You just scrolling social media, and remember, we're talking about the world now. It's no longer just America or a state or a city. It's the world economy that's going
so
crazy.
Much is going on right now.
A lot of controversial topics going on, and obviously we're not specialists in every topic, but we do want to shed some light on certain topics we feel is going to impact you. So let us know in the comment section, what type of topics do you want to do a deeper dive in, and what could help impact you and your family for future generations.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a couple things that we want to cover on this particular podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about the mortgage rates that are going to impact good credit users. That's not something you hear every day, right? It's actually going to have a negative impact. If you have a better credit score, you're going to get negatively infected or affected in an adverse place. Infected. No more coronavirus. We're done with that. No more infections. But it's going to affect you in a negative way. And it's going to help people with lower credit scores. We'll touch that in a minute. And then what else are we talking about? We got a couple things we want to cover.
I want to talk about retirement. Obviously, I'm a retirement type of guy, and it pisses me off that middle-class America, they're not saving enough to retire, and it's not their own fault.
And that's an epidemic happening right now.
Yeah, I saw my grandparents, I see my parents, and it just makes us wonder, like, are we doing what's best for retirement, And there's so many people out there that they want to win in life, they just don't know what questions to ask, they don't know where to go to get the answers, and they're getting pulled in every different direction. And they just want to know, man.
Yeah,
they just want to know because we were born to win and succeed. They want to win.
Yeah, we meet with people every single day, and their biggest thing, I think 9 out of 10 people that I meet with is, Mark, I started too late, or I'm not saving enough, or I don't have enough in my retirement, or during the pandemic, I depleted my retirement because remember what happened during the pandemic. Biden allowed people to suck their pandemic dry, suck their retirement dry.
What did Biden suck?
Nothing. That's a different episode, but their retirement was depleted, and people are feeling that right now. They're feeling the price of their, the consequences of what they went through because they did that.
Sure, yeah. It's so let's go ahead and get into it, guys. If you're just now tuning in, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Show us some love. Hit that notification tab so you can be notified every time new content is released, guys. And let us know what city and state you're watching from. And hold on, let's start this. We gave a contest out.
Yeah, there was a contest last week for the most engaged follower or subscriber, and we wanted to give away a book. We talked about a specific book last week in last week's episode, and it was called what was it called? Living a Life
of Significance by Joe Jordan.
By Joe Jordan. And so we had a comment, and we want to shout out the person that commented. And I believe who was that? That was Cassie Casa. I believe she's an agent with us in our firm, and she said her biggest takeaway was, you're not tired or burnt out. You just lack purpose. So if you remember in our last episode, maybe you can go back and watch it. We talked about people aren't necessarily lazy. They more so lack purpose in life. So if you find it hard to get out of bed, sometimes it's not because you're lazy. It's because you don't have a reason to get out of bed. And so that was a great comment. We appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and send you that book, Living a Life of Significance by Joe Jordan. So make sure you get in touch with us. DM us on Instagram or Facebook. Let us know your address. We're going to go ahead and send that to you. So we appreciate it. So from this point forward, the most engaged person that is our subscriber that clicks that thumbs up button and drops a comment is going to be in the raffle for a some type of leadership book or financial literacy book.
Absolutely. Yep. Readers are leaders, and readers are also money makers.
Money makers.
Money makers. Right. How many of y'all want to make some money, guys? Go ahead and let us know in the comments. I want to talk about. I think we should get started with talking about Biden and the recent what he's doing to middle class America. And before I give my thoughts, because I'm gonna try to stay calm, guy. I'm gonna try to stay calm, guys. Right?
Stay level, right?
It's
Stay
it's like I see. Like here's what I see from a job perspective, an employment perspective, is that people are doing just enough work so they don't get fired, and the employers are paying them just enough so they don't quit.
right.
It's a lot of freaking mediocrity
Lot of
going on in middle
mediocrity.
class America,
Right.
and God doesn't bless mediocrity. He blesses excellence and abundance.
Yeah.
And then I see that the leaders of this great nation, they're saying, be mediocre. We're going to reward mediocrity,
Right.
but God doesn't. So are they trying to play God? Like, I don't know what's going on right now,
Yeah.
but I'm seeing people that have the DNA of a king running through their blood just settling for
Yeah.
average and
Yeah.
ordinary, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It pisses
it
you
hurts,
off,
man.
doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
hurts,
Yeah.
man. It hurts.
We were talking about it earlier. He was getting red faced, right? So whenever
Yeah.
Jesse gets red faced, that means he is freaking fired up
Yeah.
and passionate about
So
it.
let's talk about it. I might get red faced again, might match
Let's
my
see.
shirt, but let's talk about it,
We'll
man.
see what happens. Just brace yourself, everybody.
So it's I know one thing is I used to pride myself on my credit score. I said you can tell a lot about a man by his credit score. You can tell if he's disciplined,
Yeah.
if he's committed, if he's loyal, and it all comes on how timely is this guy paying his bills.
Yeah.
Right? So we have always been rewarded by paying our bills on time,
Right.
right? Because if you pay your bills on time, the banker doesn't come knock on your door. Right? The repo truck doesn't come and repo your car,
Correct.
right? So now we're starting to see some craziness going on in America where you're being rewarded for not paying your freaking bills, for having a low credit score,
Crazy.
right?
Crazy.
So you want to talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah. So if you haven't heard, there's a new proposal, a new rule coming out where fees on mortgages backed by Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are now set to change in the next month, right? April, May, June. And these plans are designed to subsidize some of the lower credit score, issues that we got going on. So what's going to happen is the people that have higher credit scores are going to end up getting this, like, it's like this surcharge, right? It's a surcharge that's going to be added on to their mortgage so that they can kind of get back what they're losing with lower credit lower credit people that are trying to get houses. And so there's an article from CNN Business that says for those with lower credit scores, the fee charges will reduce the penalty for having a low credit score. For those with a higher credit score, more price tiers have been added and put in place, which may then affect, in some cases, increased credit scores. Okay. For example, if a buyer who puts down 20% down payment with a credit score of 640, they would see their fee drop to 0.75% from 3% to drop 0.75% from 3% to 2.25%, okay, with no updates, all right? Another buyer also putting a 20% down payment on who has a credit score of 740 will see their fee climb 0.37% from 0.5% to 0.87%. A lot of numbers right there, but just if you can understand, the people who have better credit scores are going to get a 0.37% increase on their fees, even though they have a better credit score. And it really, at the end of the day, pisses me off to know that if I'm working hard for years trying to clean up my credit and get in a better place than I was years ago, trying to be more responsible with my bills, pay things on time, make sure my credit utilization is down where it needs to be in the 5 to 10% range, it pisses me off knowing that the administration is going to come in here and charge me an extra fee so that I can help out those who are not doing anything to protect their credit. Like you said, credit is like it's a coveted thing. I'm on like two sides of the spectrum. Dave Ramsey says, screw credit, you don't need credit, do everything cash. But the reality is you do need credit, and the better credit you have, the more freedom you're going to have for yourself and your business. And we're learning about business credit right now. We're doing some business credit with our own brands and our own LLCs, and we're going to be teaching on that soon in some courses that we have coming out. What is your take on this whole thing? And like, How does it make you feel knowing that it's like you were in the military
Yeah.
getting paid what the guy that wasn't doing anything was getting paid, and that upset you too. So now it has to do with our credit.
So that's the thing. When did being credit worthy become a freaking crime in the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world? I fought for 16 years, Mark, against enemies foreign, against enemies domestic, and I see our Constitution and tyranny slowly creeping into the United States. And it's starting to piss me off because I've seen too many of my brothers in arms, my sisters in arms give the ultimate sacrifice of their life for what?
Yeah.
For people to just shit on it and rain on the parade that's going on.
Yeah.
It's like so think about this. My son, I got 7 kids. One of my sons come to live with me a couple years back. And he said, "Dad, socialism is good."
Ooh.
I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Let's process this together." I said, "Here's $100, son." I said, "Give your brother $20, give your sister $20, give your other brother $20."
Right.
He said, "Why?"
That's socialism.
I said, "Because even though you did the work, they get paid the same." Correct. He said, "I don't like that."
Yeah.
I said, "Then you don't stand for socialism.
You don't like socialism.
Don't ever say that again in my house."
Yeah.
Right? Because we are a capitalist nation, free enterprise nation, where if you are willing to put the blood, tears, sweat equity, sacrifice in, you should get rewarded for that. If you can have honor and integrity and come through on your word, I'm gonna get a car loan that's $600 per month. You have my word. I'm gonna pay it on the first of every freaking month. Right. Why am I being penalized for it now?
Exactly.
It's not right.
It's not right. And I feel like over the last few years, there has been little bits. It's really a narrative that's taking place. There's been bits of socialism that have been slipped in underneath the
radar,
the radar, and underneath the knowledge of most middle class Americans. Because at the end of the day, guys, listen, what's on Facebook, we believe, right? We believe what's on Fox News. We believe what's on CNN. But that in and of itself is tainted information, if you will, right? It's not 100% the truth. You said a couple episodes ago there's 3 types of truth. What are they?
We got his truth, her truth, and the truth.
And the truth, right? And there's always going to be some discrepancies, but it just feels like people are just like the administration that's currently in office. Let's just be point blank about it, okay? No matter who you are, what side of the spectrum you rely on, we know that this administration right now, they're doing some shady things. You can see it on both sides of the spectrum. Fox, CNN, doesn't matter who you listen to. They're up to no good right now, and they're damaging the economy. They're bringing down the economy. They're damaging middle-class American. And I think what's happening is they're trying to slide in little bits of socialism into our livelihood, and it's really upsetting.
Listen, I grew up in a trailer park in Savannah, Georgia, okay? And then we moved to Anderson, South Carolina, where I did my education, went to school, graduated high school in Pendleton, South Carolina, and went off to college, went off to the military. I didn't have a good money blueprint. I didn't think money was for me. I thought it was for the people we saw on TV. And it wasn't until I started reading books, I started surrounding myself with higher level thinkers, that I started thinking money was for me. Because my entire life, the education system says you're worth this.
Yeah.
So think about this. When I first got started in the financial industry, a gentleman showed up with a suit and a briefcase, just got out of the Marines. So I'm talking to him. We're having coffee at a Starbucks. I'm talking to him, asking him some questions. And at the end, he said, "When's the formal interview?" I said, "The formal interview?" I said, I got up, I grabbed another chair, and I sat at the table. I said, "If you want me to tell you what you're worth, sit in this seat. If you want to tell me what you're worth, continue sitting where you are."
Yeah, that's good.
He stayed where he was sitting.
Yeah.
But now he's working at State Farm, making $14 an hour, 6% commission.
Sure.
Because that's all he knew at the time was go to school, get a job, work for somebody else.
Right.
Not until he's challenged by someone that can influence him to think on a different level will he know that financial freedom anybody can have if they're willing to learn.
Sure.
If they're willing to learn a new skill set, if they're willing to be coachable and teachable and not settle for mediocrity.
Yeah.
So this is the year that leaders need to rise up. I'm not talking about these freaking managers that call themselves leaders. They know how to manage schedules and tell somebody, hey, you showed up late. No, people that are willing to lead from the front. Hey, watch me do it, and this is how you do it. That's what this world needs.
Right.
And we need an administration. We need leadership in this country that's going to say, forget what every other country is doing. This is what the United States of America is doing. You're either with us or you're against us.
Yeah.
And I believe we had somebody like that in office before, right? But that's a different episode.
That's a different episode.
That's a different episode.
Actually, the longer we do these podcasts, you're going to see over the next 12 months or so, we're going to share a lot of stuff, a lot of insight, a lot of our own opinion. You may like it, you may not like it, you may want to not follow us anymore, but we're not going to shy away from our truth and what we believe is true. So
yeah, and man, and we're a country that needs God back in it.
Yeah.
We're a country that needs guys. I was running a meeting. I was running a meeting yesterday, and he's probably watching this right now.
Yeah.
With a client who's an elementary school teacher in Charlotte, North Carolina. We were talking about some things that are taking place. He said, let me tell you the craziest thing. And a school in their school district, they put a litter box there.
Stop.
In case a kid identified as a Furby, they could piss in their litter box. I said,
a what?
A Furby. I said, get the hell out of here. He said, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. A client, bro, piss in the litter box, man. Like,
you know, I've heard stuff similar to that.
I don't know what's going on.
I've heard stuff similar to that. It freaks me out to think that if I send my kids are homeschooled, your kids are homeschooled. I don't think I'm ever sending my kids back to school again. I don't think so. Maybe a Christian private school, maybe. But even then, you still don't know what's going on. But I've heard about that before. I've heard about this furry freaking trend that's going on.
So much so, this is the sickness that's going on because there's no accountability in America. I'm not even going to say middle class. There's no accountability in America for responsibility, for leadership, for guidance. You got people in these school districts, and I'm just going to tell you a story that just came out. A school district where my wife used to work. My wife actually knew this guy. Said this guy was like the kindest guy in the world. Back in September, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for being a pedophile, a 12-year-old boy. He was meeting people on Grindr that would bring their kids to his house. The school district elected not to tell the parents just until 3 days ago.
That's crazy.
Until 3 days ago. Met him on Grindr. I was like, yeah, our kids are not going to school. I don't care if it's a Christian school or private school. Our kids are not going to school.
And it's not bad enough that they're taking financial literacy out of school, and they're not teaching kids how to manage their dang checkbooks or make money or start a business, right? They'll teach you how to bake an apple pie and
play
play a recorder and a violin, but they're not going to teach you the vital skills that you need in in life. But now they're allowing a little touchy subject right now. They're allowing transgender people to come in. They're allowing drag queens to come in and perform as almost like a like what do they do? Those they do a talent show, right? They're allowing them to come in and celebrate
read to them.
Listen, to each his own. Okay, that's up to you what you do in your private life. Don't you dare come in and try to push that narrative on my kids, okay? That's our job at our home to do that, right? So they're taking out financial literacy and they're bringing in every other thing in this entire world. What is the real goal for education? What are they trying to do? They're trying to screw us up. That's what they're definitely trying to do. I'll tell you that much, right? There's some crazy stuff going on here, man.
But the crazy thing is they've been so think about this. Think about AI. We've been watching AI since freaking Total Recall.
Right.
Since Star Wars.
When it was just a
robot walking around. What is it? R2-D2.
Yep. Star Wars, yeah.
So, and then it's become more and more popular in movies. And now, boom, here it is.
Now it's here.
And we fully accept it because we've been groomed for all these 30, 40, 50 years.
That's right.
Same thing with a fatherless home.
Yes.
We grew up watching TV like shows like Family Matter, TGIF.
Yeah.
Let me know what your favorite TGIF TV show was.
Yeah,
Mine was Boy Meets World and Family Matters.
Boy Meets
right?
World, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think you had Boy Meets World, Step by Step,
Yeah, yeah.
Family Matters.
They all had a strong
They all
male
had a
role model.
strong male figure.
Correct, correct.
Nowadays, there's either no male figure in the house,
If anything, yeah.
a transgender male figure in the
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
or they're making a joke of the dad.
Like he's a
Laughing
deadbeat.
at the dad,
He's
yep.
a deadbeat.
Correct.
It's more of a woman dominated role that these movies are having right now. And
Yep.
and that's, hey, women are just as equal as men. I fully believe that, right? Women are not less important or less equal than men. But there's a role for a man, there's a role for a woman, and right now in Hollywood, they're taking the role away from the man 100%. They're what is it called?
Demasculinizing.
Demasculinizing the male role. And they're
Just
allowing
ripping their testicles off.
and they're allowing the woman to be more dominant than the man is. And for all you single mothers out there, listen, I appreciate you. I support you. I was raised by a single mother. You guys do the best that you can. But a child needs a man in his life, a good role model, a male role model in his life. Because there are certain things that a man can teach a boy or a girl that a mom can't teach a boy and a girl. There are. That's just the fact of the matter. And so, let's let's get back to finances real quick. Talking about AI, there was a new article that came out that said Chat GPT can be used to help out your finances and your tax preparation. Did you know that? So I've been diving into the world of AI and Chat GPT lately. We're almost done with this big course that we're about to launch. We're about to drop it for a fraction of what it should cost.
Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Fraction of what it should cost. You're going to be mind blown when you see how much this is going to be. And it's going to be well worth it. But you can use Chat GPT for several areas. I wanted to share this with you and bring this to your attention. If you are in the world of Chat GPT, I want you to go ahead and try it out. You can use Chat GPT for budgeting help. So you can create a budget right through Chat GPT. Prompts such as, Chat GPT, please help me create a budget. This is my net worth. These are my expenses. This is what I make every single week or every single month. And it'll literally print out a budget for you. You can do saving strategies. If you want to do what are a couple different saving strategies? You got the percentages. You got the 50, 30, 20. Is that one? 50, 30, 20. There's a couple other ones like that, right?
Yep.
So you can ask ChatGPT for specific saving strategies, which I've actually done a couple times. You can use it for providing information about investing. Now, you can't ask ChatGPT what to invest in, as they may kick you back with something you shouldn't invest in.
But you can say, Chat GPT, I need to make $200 today, and it will tell you where to go make $200.
It'll tell you where to go and how to do it and how to achieve that. Yeah. So you can have ChatGPT do research for you, and then you make the educated decision based on the research. Number 4, you can help manage your debt, right? So getting out of debt seems impossible, but ChatGPT can help create a plan to start managing your debt and paying it down. You can literally go in and say, create me a debt management program based on Dave Ramsey's debt snowball theory. And it'll literally, it knows that theory, and it'll create you a routine on what to do and how to do it. It's crazy.
Create me an investment plan that's totally opposite of what Dave Ramsey suggests.
It'll do that as well. It'll do it. You can actually say it. I swear you. It's no joke. You can do that. And then you can understand a couple other things that you can use ChatGPT for is understanding credit score. What your credit score is, how to improve your credit score, how to use your credit score to your advantage. And then the last thing is tax planning. Now, although ChatGPT is not an accountant or a CPA, you can still ask it for basic information about tax law, tax strategies, and a lot of tax exemptions that you can use on your taxes that maybe your CPA or your accountant may not even know about. So that's the world of ChatGPT and AI. I wanted to throw that in there because I feel we're not escaping this. It's going to be here, and it's here to stay. And we need to know how to use these tools to our advantage.
It's going to evolve faster than any human could ever think possible.
Listen, we've only been in this for a couple months, right?
Correct. There's going to be 100 million jobs lost in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Due to artificial intelligence.
Correct. Yeah.
It's mind-boggling the speed that it's moving, but it's even more. I'm going to use the word fascinating at everything that we can do, all the careers that it's replacing.
Correct.
So we saw what was it last year? Even the trucking industry, where I forgot the name of the company. I know Elon has something to do with the self-driving trucks,
Right.
where
Yeah.
they were making deliveries. They ran an 1,800-mile long haul,
Yeah.
made the delivery. There was no driver in
No
it,
driver.
and
Crazy.
now obviously that's got some work to do. Maybe a man has to man the truck. There's going to be have to people having to operate it. So if I was in that industry, I'd be saying, okay, what skills do I need to learn so I can man that?
Right.
It's just like drone pilots in the military where they can be in Washington D.C. flying drones over in Afghanistan
True.
and then drive it back that
But
night.
they've been doing that for decades.
Correct.
For a decade
So
at least.
why can't we do that? We've
Right.
heard we got all these people starting these Amazon drop
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
with these trucks. They're about to have drones that do that.
Sure. Yeah. They already
So
have drones in China, Japan. They're already literally already have Amazon's already flying drones that are about 8 feet in diameter
mhm.
to drop off packages and pizza. I saw an article. They're dropping off pizza via drones right now, and it's just
Man.
starting to drip into the United States of America.
So if you're in a career that can be replaceable, I think in one of our other podcasts, and you could probably look at it up here, one of our other podcasts, we mentioned about 20 to 25 different
Yeah, it was one of our first
positions,
podcasts.
correct,
I think. Yeah,
that's going to be replaced.
correct.
And if you're in one of those positions, I would highly encourage you to do your due diligence on what skill that you need to possess or learn in order to get ahead of that game, because AI will take over and you're going to be left helpless, bumming on the government.
Yeah, there's a really good book called "Create the Demand." Let me see if I can find out who it's by. Create the Demand. I'll get the guy who wrote it, but I read this book a bunch of years back, and it's basically talking about if there's nothing out there for you and you feel like you don't fit in, create your own job
Yep.
and create your own skill where you are irreplaceable. Create the Demand. Great book. If I can find the author to that, I'll make sure I put that in the show notes. But yeah, man. I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on right now. I had a conversation with my sons. I was helping them with school, and I sat down and I said, "Boys," I said, "let me talk to you for a second." They got all serious. They thought they were in trouble. I said, "I just want to let you know that we are in an age of technology. We're in an age of cybersecurity, coding, developing, engineering, AI technology, right? Artificial intelligence." I said, "Whatever you do in life, focus on those four areas. Focus on either cybersecurity, some type of coding or developing, some type of blockchain technology or artificial intelligence." I said, "You'll be set for the rest of your life." And they're like, "Well, do we have to do those things?" I said, "You don't have to do those things, but you're going to want to do those things because that's what's going to pay the bills in the long run. People need to know how to do those things. The days of, swinging a hammer, those days are coming to an end. You're
Yep.
going to have robots that are going to be swinging the hammer more efficiently and more effectively than any guy that could be on that workplace."
I saw a robot the other day. He was at a shooting range, like it was going through a
Wow.
police
Wow.
course.
Yeah.
He was hitting every freaking target, timed,
Wow.
precision. They
That's
even
crazy.
shot him. He fell, went up and hit the target. I'm like, okay, now cops are going to be replaced. So it's if you think you're irreplaceable,
Yeah.
you
That's
might want
wild.
to check. But I know a couple industries that are irreplaceable. Industries where you have to deal with people
And emotions.
and emotions. You got to take it from the head to the heart, and because a robot can't connect with a human being on an emotional level.
No, there's no way. No way.
So if it is, and they're able to give a robot a consciousness,
If they're able to do that, we're
that's
in
scary.
trouble, bro.
They're playing God.
We're in trouble.
They're
bro.
playing God then, right?
We're in trouble.
So, but something that's near and dear to my heart is retirement, because I believe, I believe in the life cycle. You're born, you grow up, you find your purpose, you give everything you got to your purpose, and then you pass away.
Yeah.
You retire, you go off into the golden years, sunlight, sipping some Mai Tais on the beach, and
Amen.
and then you fade out, and you've groomed the next generation to be that leader. Um, but I see it more often in middle class America that people aren't able to complete that life cycle. They're never able to find their purpose because they're constantly trying to get out of the financial freaking struggle.
Right.
And we believe there's golden years on the horizon, but they don't look so golden. Because in middle class America, 79% of middle class America is currently living paycheck to paycheck. Because we're fed into this system that teaches us to put our money in the bank, put our money into a 401k, and trust financial advisors on the best avenue to retire with. It's been said that Wall Street is the only place where somebody driving a Rolls Royce will give all their money to somebody who took the train to work.
Yeah.
They're just employees.
Yeah.
Most of them are not financially savvy themselves. But what happened is, and what I see happen, and then I'll share an article with you guys, is in the mid-70s, the high tax rate was 72, 73%.
Right.
And citizens like you and I were saying, I don't want to pay those taxes. So the government partnered with Wall Street and said, okay, you're not going to have to pay the tax. They created some kind of defined contribution plan, which you know is a 401k, 403b,
Yep.
457 deferred comp, thrift savings plan, which says, okay, you don't have to pay the taxes now on the $500 that you're saving, but you're going to pay the taxes 20 years from now on the $500,000.
Got it.
So you get what I'm saying. So they tax
You're
deferred
paying the
it.
seed on the harvest rather than
You're paying taxes on the harvest instead of the seed.
rather than seed. Yeah.
And if we know anything about a seed, you plant one seed, it's going to blossom a harvest, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: the government says, and oh, by the way, we're going to tell you what the tax rate is when it's time for you to pay us back. Not only is that terrible, because we're in $32 trillion worth of debt, the taxes are going to go up. There's no choice.
Of course. They're already starting to go up.
The taxes are going to go up.
Yes.
And then they put something called an RMD, a required minimum distribution. So you have to, you're forced to start taking distribution at the age of 72 and a half. Let's say you didn't need that stream of income. They're going to force you to start taking it. Or else they're going to penalize you, tax you 50%.
That, to me, that's insane.
On that money. They're going to force you to take it out. Why? Because the government needs those tax dollars to pay off the national debt. They created something called an annuity for themselves. Because as a W-2 employee, you are a tax-paying citizen to the U.S. government. And 51% of all the money you make throughout your life will go to the government in the form of taxes. Yeah. So I'm going to share this article real quick. And this article, it really tells you, because I see my grandmother go through it. And where are we at? I'm going to share this article. Let's see if I can pull it up. I don't know where it is.
Because you got about 1,000 tabs open on your computer.
No,
man.
I don't have 1,000 tabs.
Yes, there's 1,000 tabs open.
I don't have 1,000 tabs.
While he's looking that up, guys, you got the article up? All right, go for it.
The article's up.
Yeah, go for it.
You have to finish that thought later.
Yeah, I'll finish that later.
So it says the 401k generation enters into a retirement minefield. Guys, do you know what a minefield is? Let me kind of paint this picture. When I was stationed in South Korea, they got something called the DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone. So that's where during the Korean War, America was pushing back, and Korea was pushing back against the side, and the DMZ is what separates.
Okay.
It's concertina wires, big fences, and on North Korea's side, they got snipers standing at the huts.
Got it.
Make sure you don't cross over. Mm-hmm. But on North Korea's side, the first 25 miles is nothing but rice paddies and minefields.
Wow.
So if North Korea ever crossed into North Korea, they're walking through 25 miles of minefields.
Wow.
So in your retirement, a minefield means you step on a mine and it blows your ass up. Okay. Yeah. So the retirement minefield is you have 10,900 baby boomers retiring every day for the next 10 years. The great wealth transfer that's taking place is between now and the year 2040, there's $64 trillion going to exchange hands between the baby boomer generation and the financial services industry. But the average median balance of a 401k at the age of 65 in middle class America, according to Vanguard is less than $85,000.
Mm.
At a 4% rule, meaning you cannot pull out more than 4% of your nest egg to ensure you don't run out of money too soon, that's going to generate you $283 worth of retirement funds every single month. I don't know about you, but I can't live off of $283.
How can you live off of that? No, nobody can.
So let's go through this article, the retirement minefield. Okay, and just to hit on some, it says 401k plans and IRAs do not generate steady and predictable income like a pension or Social Security. Social Security isn't even predictable now because
Nope.
it's already due to be depleted by the year 2034.
Yes.
This is the first time. So you got a larger generation, the baby boomers,
Uh-huh.
76 million babies are born, followed up by the Gen Xers, 61 million.
Wow.
You got 343 million people in the population. You got 144 million taxpayers. You got more people taken out of Social Security than putting into Social
Right.
Security.
And it's disappearing.
That's a recipe for disaster, Mark.
Oh,
Right?
it already is a disaster.
So
Yet they're increasing the Social Security. They increased it this year. What do they want to just spend it quicker so they get rid of it faster?
they're already trillions behind in unfunded liabilities.
Right. Yet they increased it.
Yet they
Crazy.
increased it.
Crazy.
So think about this. The longer you live, so the number one fear for all retirees is longevity risk. Do I have enough money to last me until my demise? The problem here is we don't know how long we're going to live. So we start, being frugal and pinching pennies and stuff because we didn't save enough in the first place. And then we don't know how long we need that little bit of savings to actually stretch and last.
Sure.
It's like, it reminds me of putting paint on the wall, man. You're sitting there trying to damn, I don't want to go back to the store, and you're trying to stretch it, right?
Paint. Yeah.
That's what we're doing with our retirement money. And it shouldn't be that way, bro. If we look at this, because the longer you live, the more likely it is the stock market's going to drop.
Right.
The longer you live, the more likely it is you're going to suffer from a critical chronic terminal illness and need long-term care, long-term care facilities. You already don't have enough money. So where are you going to pay for the money?
Yeah.
The number one cause for GoFundMe is unexpected medical bills.
You're right.
The number one cause for bankruptcy in America is unexpected medical bills.
That's a scary thing.
Why are they putting us in this type of position? Because if it was just one or two or a handful of people, okay. But this is millions of people are facing the same.
The majority.
The majority is.
There's a stat here that says 62% of Americans say that debt is their biggest issue right now. And that's up from 56% last year. Now they're saying debt is the issue because during the years of the pandemic and the years that the freaking stock market went crazy, everybody was taking out debt and taking loans to pay for their bills and pay for their mortgage and pay. So the debt went up so high that they're having to pay it back and they're having to use their retirement plans to pay it back. So they're scrounging for money right now. And let's not talk about the debt ceiling right now, that the freaking government is about to raise the debt ceiling. You know what, raising the debt ceiling, that's like you taking out a $5,000 credit card, maxing it out, and then begging the credit card company, give me a little more credit, increase it another $5,000, and then you maxing it out again, and you going back. How many times are we going to do that before we shoot ourselves in the foot and we can't ever pay it back? I mean, we're already at that place.
Well, think about the interest on that debt is billions of dollars per month. So how do you pay it? You raise the taxes.
Compound interest.
They're not worried about it. They got their. So when you're a government official, you get paid free health care for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Free health care for the rest of your life.
And a salary, I believe. Right?
And a salary for the rest of your life, even when you're not in office. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're not the ones paying those taxes. It's middle class America, squeezed middle class America, that's paying off that debt because of their stupidity.
It's insane.
So think about this. 60% of middle class America use something called a 401k. Are you familiar with a 401k? Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share this, and this is Teresa. I'm not even gonna pronounce her last name. It says why the 401k is a failed experiment. If you highlight right here, it says the 401k system has been a failed experiment for middle class America because it was never, I'll say it again, it was never designed with them in mind. It was not designed to be a sole purposes of retirement. It was designed to supplement the income and be a tax shelter for the wealthy.
It was supposed to be a short-term fix, not a long-term play. the father of the 401k, Ted Benna. He got on a freaking news interview and he said, I just want to let you guys know, fully transparent, the 401k was pretty much a mistake. It was never ever meant to be a long-term retirement plan. The guy that designed the thing, he said it was never meant to be a long-term retirement plan. It was just for people that had high taxes that want to kind of get rid of that tax liability and put some money away. And then they were expecting the taxes to come down, which they did, but they stayed in their 401k and they kept contributing to their 401k. And then what happened was employers got rid of the pension plans and they started introducing the 401ks in place of them. So you know what that did? The company stopped paying into people's retirement and they expected you to now pay into your own retirement. So they flipped the
So let's make it even sweeter. You ready for this?
Yeah.
This is going to hurt. It's going to hurt, but it's the truth.
Let it hurt.
So we've bought the lie.
A lot of lies.
That match is free money.
Oh, that's going to hurt. People hate this one.
That match is free money. Okay. So if I don't have to pay taxes on that money now, but I have to pay taxes on that money 20 years from now,
yep.
when the tax rate is knowingly going to be much higher, is it really free?
Nope.
What's happening with the match is every dollar that company matches you, that company takes an immediate tax deduction dollar
Correct.
for dollar that year.
It's a deduction.
So that company is transferring the income tax liability away from them and onto you. That's why they loved it so much, because the pension plan you were talking about, the defined benefit plan,
right.
the average age of retirement was 65, but the average age of death was 57.
Correct.
Most people didn't even live to actually see retirement.
Right.
So then with modern medication, people started living longer. They're like, they're not even adding value to our company anymore. We can't afford to pay them.
Right. They stopped that.
And then once they saw that, hey, our company can benefit from this, we like this,
yep.
let's make it mass.
Yep.
Your 401k is not to benefit you, it's to benefit the employer.
And you think you're getting the goods, right? You're getting that extra match of 3 to 6%, and you think, oh, that I'm getting free money there. Man, what you're really getting is more taxes to pay later on when you need it. And you may escape the taxes right now. You may get that tax deferred money going in there. But man, when you're ready to retire, and everybody, this is the biggest argument I get. Well, I'm going to be at a lower tax bracket when I retire. Why in the world do you want to live paycheck to paycheck when you retire? Why do you want to live Social Security check to Social Security check when you retire? Because I know plenty of old people, of elder folks. I'm trying to be politically correct. Elderly folks that are begging and praying for more money to come in every single month because they're strapped and they don't have enough money to pay their bills and their mortgage and everything else that they want to do in life. When I'm older, Jesse, I want to be able to travel the world.
I want to borrow your helicopter, man.
I want to borrow your boat, your 50-foot yacht.
That's
I want to be living my best life when I'm after my 60s, because I don't want to just depend on Social Security or a crummy 401k.
Social Security means you didn't save enough. But here's the crazy thing. Not everybody's going to get Social Security, and the reason why is because not every company is mandatory to pay Social Security. Like, for example, the school districts here in Texas, they don't pay Social Security.
Wow.
They don't pay into it, which means they don't get out of it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but if you have to depend on Social Security, it means you didn't save enough, compound enough, multiply enough, or make enough. You didn't make good, sound financial decisions during your accumulation years.
Right.
So I'm going to share the screen right here. You were talking about
Ted Benna.
Ted Benna. And it says, why the father of the 401k says he regrets pushing the retirement plan. Guys, look here, highlighted. Mr. Benna and other early proponents say they dislike what the 401k is spawned to be. The tool was never meant to serve as the main means by which workers save for retirement. They say that it is is now precisely what it's became, increasing financial risk for workers along the way, guys. It's increasing the risk. And we're not saying it's bad, but you have what? What's the saying that we say?
What do we say? He who can control, he can.
No.
What?
Good, better,
good, better, and best. We say a lot of sayings, man. I don't know which one you're talking about. Good, better, and best. Never let it rest until good becomes better and better becomes best.
So your 401k is a good product.
It's
good. Better than a shoebox or a tin can under the third tree.
You're going in the right direction.
And then you get the Roth IRA, which is a step in the right direction, but it's not the best step. The Roth IRA knocks the socks off of the traditional 401k
But there are limits.
because you're paying taxes now, right?
Correct.
But there's contribution. The contribution limit went up.
Income
It's
limits,
$6,500 now per
Contribution
month.
limits, yes.
I'm sorry, per year.
Yeah.
And it's still volatile, so it's attached to the market, going up, going down. You can't touch it till you're 59 and a half years old without a 10% penalty. You can have access to what you put in, but you can't have access to the capital inside of it. But then you have something called a properly structured, engineered, and designed life insurance policy.
Say what?
Yeah.
People
I'll
are
say it
gonna be
again.
like, life
A
insurance?
properly
Life insurance is for
structured,
death.
engineered, and designed life insurance policy where we're leveraging 3 tax codes. Don't pay attention to what it is. Focus on what it does. And the first tax code is 72E. It says you can put your money inside of life insurance tax-free. 7702 says you can access it tax-free. 101A says that upon your passing, you can transfer it to your beneficiaries tax-free. Guys, life insurance is a tax-free retirement vehicle that nobody knows about.
Nobody knows about. It's crazy how many people don't know about it. I was meeting with a client today, business owner, owns some delis in New York, Italian guy, older and probably in his 60s, 62, 63. And he said, insurance is too expensive for a guy like me. I looked into it a while ago. I can't afford.
He was buying death benefits.
I was like, what are you looking at? Who's sharing this information for you? So what we did is I showed him a properly structured and well-designed index universal life insurance policy. And I said, Mr. Business Owner, I said, did you know you can get a tax write-off on all the premiums going into this policy as well as accruing cash value, compound interest, and having death benefits? He goes, wait a second. You mean I can get a tax write-off on the premiums that I'm paying in for myself, my employee, my wife, and the other guy working for me? I said, 100% you can. He said, well, show me what $2,000 a month looks like. We showed him a $2,000 a month policy. He'd have multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars when he's ready to settle down and sell his businesses. Then he said, stop for a second. Can you show this for me on my 24-year-old nephew? So we showed him a $2,000 a month policy on his nephew that works for him that he can use also as a, what's it called? Executive bonus plan.
Executive bonus plan.
And he said, wait a second. He said, if I do that from 24 till 65, the nephew's going to have $2.4 million in there by the time he's 65 years old. He said, and I can get a tax write-off on all that money? I said, well, you sure can, Mr. Business Owner. I said, let's set up a follow-up conversation and we'll get this locked in for you. So
that's it.
But the thing is, he's 62 years old. He's a successful business owner. He probably makes millions per year. He's very well off, but he did not know about these tax benefits that you could use with a freaking life insurance policy.
And
that made me more excited about what I do.
It's mind-boggling. Thank you for sharing that, man. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy, like how many CPAs we have to educate on the tax code. It's crazy, man. The tax code is 75,000 pages long.
Crazy.
A CPA is not going to know every freaking tax code in there.
Correct.
So we deal with these high net worth individuals, these affluent clients, and they're like, well, my accountant said it's not tax-free. Well, can you please get them on a Zoom so I can educate them? Do I need to fly out to you so I can educate your CPA? Right.
We've done that a few times.
So it's the craziest thing. But don't just you can't. So let me address this real quick.
Please do.
You can't just run out to your local bank and say, "Hey, I want life insurance where I can save for a tax retirement."
Or your local state farm agent.
Or your local state. They're going to look at you and say, "What the hell are you talking about?" There's only a handful of companies that even offer this type of product. It's called specifically indexed universal life insurance policy. And there's even fewer agents that know how to structure this. Just because they have their life insurance license does not mean that they specialize in max funded life insurance policies. Okay.
And just because you hear them talking about infinite banking and be your own bank does not mean they know what they're talking about. Because there are a lot of people out there that talk, but they do not know how to structure the policy properly.
They're just regurgitating information
that they're hearing from us.
So we actually have a podcast. Yeah. So if you want to put that podcast up here, that's where we talked about the top 14 questions to ask your advisor
podcast episode.
Before you make sure you go through with them. So make sure you guys watch that. Yep. So everybody ask, Mark, and I'm sure you get it. What company should I go with?
Oh, I get that 10 times a day.
So I'm going to tell you the top 5 companies. The number 1 company,
write it down,
is North American.
Yeah.
The number 2 company is American National. The number 3 company, they're going to hate me for this, but it's National Life Group. The number 4 company, Fidelity and Guarantee.
Yeah.
And the 5th company, Mutual of Omaha.
Yeah.
In that order.
Yeah. That's your
But-
best bet right
Because
there.
think about it, every life insurance company has a niche,
Correct.
a flagship product per se. So if we're talking about tax-free retirement, I'm going with one of those 5 companies.
Right.
If we're talking about term insurance, I'm going to go with a different company. If we're
Sure.
talking about whole life insurance or final expense, Mutual of Omaha is number 1 on that
Right.
list.
Yeah.
So depending on the needs of the client, the retirement goals of the client
Sure.
will determine which carrier we decide to write
And
business
like we
with.
said in the beginning, it's never one size fits all.
Correct.
Never. It
So-
just totally depends on needs.
So definitely make sure that you find a trusted life insurance agent. If you don't know anybody, you can come to one of us.
Yep.
Don't just go to anybody, guys. There's a lot of gurus out, self-proclaimed gurus out there regurgitating information. Make sure somebody you can trust, somebody that's got your best interest in mind.
It's funny. I had a client that came up to me. We met last week, and he said, "Mark, before I got to you, I spoke to 5 different life insurance
Wow.
agents, and I asked them about compound interest accounts and index universal life insurance, minimum death benefit, maximum cash value, and they all said, I don't know what you're talking about." They all said that. I'm like, who are you talking to? And thank God you reached out to me and you were persistent enough to get through, because there's a lot of people reaching out to us on a regular basis.
Very
To
interesting.
cut through that noise, it takes couple messages, because our messages end up going in spam. But it's good that we get to educate these people, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think that's a wrap, brother, man.
Yeah.
It's thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're watching the live or whether you're tuning into the replay. Go ahead and show us some love. If you found any value whatsoever that you can benefit from, go ahead and let us know below what value. Let us know what topics you want us to hit on and do a deeper dive into. And as always, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that notification tab to be notified every time we drop new content.
Make sure you drop a comment after you subscribe and click the thumbs up button, because we're going to go ahead and enter whoever comments and leaves their biggest takeaway. We're going to go ahead and enter you into a raffle, some type of raffle. We're going to raffle up a leadership book, financial literacy book, some type of, thought leadership book, and we're going to send it directly to you from our address to yours. With that being said, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for being on this episode, and I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother, man.
We'll talk to y'all soon. God bless.